Hi everybody, Stefan Kesting from GrappleArts.com here. Today I've got a treat for you. I've got Richie Yip, Rob Bernacki, friends of mine, and Rob's got a super cool Kimura technique that I insisted he share with you guys. So Rob, take it away.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Rich is going to be on his back here, and what we're going to do, and by the way, Ryan Hall has some excellent information on a concept called the open elbow, and that's anytime you're trying to achieve pretty much any kind of arm lock or any kind of vulnerability in the upper body, you're trying to separate someone's elbow from their body. So we're going to use this to attack Kimura, but one detail I'd like to add is that opening the elbow by itself is not necessarily enough to put someone's arm into a weak plane. Opening the elbow and internally rotating the shoulder is what we're looking to do. So if I manage to open Richie's elbow, for instance, commonly you see, Keisagatami is a judo position that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys tell you will get your back taken every time you do it. As long as I keep this elbow open and I keep the shoulder internally rotated, Richie can't take my back because he can't get into base effectively.
Really strong.
Yeah. So once I've created this, and you can get to this position any number of ways. You can start with an underhook. You could have started with Keisagatami. I'm going to keep his elbow off the mat as I lift my hips. If I try to come here, then he will potentially take my back. But I'm going to control this elbow, separating it from his body and from the mat so he can't derive base, get an effective post. And I'm going to lift my hip, which is going to prevent him from being able to connect his arms. Because if I stay here, he can connect his arms to defend the technique.
And you're going to go for a ride.
Exactly. I'm going to the other side and he's going to be, exactly. So when I get to this open elbow hip elevation, I lock up the Kimura grip, which I'm going to use no thumbs for. You can start, actually, based on your information, start with the thumb in and then switch to the thumb out. And I'm going to start to Granby roll. So I'm going to go from my right shoulder to my left shoulder. And as I do, I'm going to roll through and then punch the arm immediately back towards him. If I don't do that, if I stay here, he can try to fight his way back to base. And, oh man, that was a devastating reversal. So when I land here, I make sure not just that I'm keeping his elbow open, but that I'm internally rotating it by punching my arm down and punching this arm forward.
So once again, internally rotating means like this.
Exactly, which is what we do to finish the Kimura, but we don't often do it to control the Kimura. Right. For instance, you'll commonly see people, if we can just turn a little bit more here, you'll commonly see people get the Kimura here and they pull it to their chest. And then if Richie just closes his elbow and bridges and turns, you lose the Kimura grip. That used to happen to me all the time until I was fortunate enough to get some details on this from Ryan Hall on how to do it differently. And he emphasizes, and now so do I, this internal rotation.
That's really strong.
Which denies the ability to close that elbow and to shut off that internal rotation that I'm using to create vulnerability. So if we go back to the same technique the whole way through from the beginning, again, however I manage to get here and separate his elbow from his hip, I lift my hip and I get to the Kimura control. I start to Granby, I roll forward, and as I'm rolling forward, I'm immediately punching my hands towards his hip and flaring his elbow, internally rotating his shoulder. I belly down, putting my toes on the mat so that I'm in base, the whole time keeping my arms straight. As soon as my elbows bend, he can come out of the position into base, closing his elbow. So my arms are extended, I'm climbing up to my knees, still keeping my arms extended as frames, and I roll him away from me. Now I have the option of either using this as a control scheme to take the back, or I can attempt to step over and finish the Kimura, or I can arm bar, I can come back to arm triangle chokes, etc., etc. It's just a neat way of going from a submission, or from a side control position into a submission chain.
Can you show it one more time?
Sure. So just as before, I've separated the elbow, I've got my grips, and I've started to roll. And now I'm punching this arm down, internally rotating the shoulder, and rolling into a position where my toes are on the mat. I'm in base, keeping my arm straight the whole way, and flaring this elbow, internally rotating the shoulder.
That's strong.
It gives me all my options of either finishing or attacking the back. To attack the back from here, I would perform the chair sit maneuver, pull him across, put my hooks in, secure the seatbelt.
And you also had a side choke and an arm bar.
Yeah,
Wow.
arm triangle, reverse Ezekiel, arm bar, Kimura, all kinds of fun stuff.
A terrible position to be in, and a very unexpected way to get there.
It's fantastic.
You never felt like you could get up.
Never at any point. Yeah, it was the fact that it felt like my skeleton was in my own way. Like I couldn't just sit up. So it was a really powerful
Yeah, the key
control.
to the control is really keeping this off the mat. As long as I'm able to do this, there's no way you should be able to threaten me. And if at any point I feel like I'm losing this, you simply return to side control.
Very cool, Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing that.
Thanks so much, Stephen.
Right on. Awesome.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.